Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Monday night. We've got a slightly different type of show. You notice there's some other people surrounding us here. You know, it's not just John and I hanging out. We've got Yanni with us. And, I was going to make some joke about JC, but I can't, other than the fact he's got some cool artwork behind him. So, John, I hope you do not mind me calling you Yanni. That was not meant to be mean. I do like your shirt, so if it's any kind of a trade, I'll maybe I redeem myself a little bit with that. So.
Have they found a quarterback yet?
They've got two.
Oh gosh, it'll take probably a few more to replace Brady, but whatever.
It trade 6 to get back to 1.
There we go. So that's what I was insinuating.
Yes. No, it's all good, and it's not like they're the Vikings, so they stand a chance. You never know.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk football tonight. No. Here's the thing. John kind of reached out earlier in this week, and he said, "Hey, he's like, we haven't done one of those shows where we like get the Zoom room and we get the DJ and chill room, and we just kind of hang out, all of us, and do one of those shows." And he's like, what do you think about that? I said, that's awesome. So we've got John, we've got JC, and if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of that, well, it's not too late. You can simply jump in djntv.com/chill. And you might have to enter if it's like the first time you've done it in a while. See, there we go. More people joining us right and left. But you can join us as well and check that out. John threw a different type of link in the.
Well,
YouTube
yeah, you were
okay, so
ahead of me.
I was ahead of you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Exactly. So
okay.
Now that I've got the second one.
There we go. So again, if you're wanting to be a part of it, if you're wanting to hang out and we can go Brady Bunch style, awesome. Because at some point, the more people that we have in the chat, the less I'm going to be able to watch the YouTube room. That's all there is to it.
There is that.
My goodness. But no, I'm excited about tonight. I came with some questions. I hope you guys are okay with that. You're not going to be silent tonight. You can't be. If you are, then we're just going to like block you and be mean or something. I don't know. I promise you, we won't make you listen to Huey Lewis.
I'm out of here, man. What's left?
I was tempted to put that on my sheet for my questions. What's your least favorite Huey Lewis song? And of course mine would be all of them.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate them like MJ hates country.
Yeah,
it's nothing like that.
You gotta put it in perspective.
Yeah. Oh, Howie gets to join us tonight too. Hello.
So tonight's going to be a little bit all over the place. And Howie, did you get a chance to see the video I put up on the Weekend Handyman with the Ryobi stuff?
Yes, I did.
With the little
very nice.
So for those of you who
I'm that one guy that gives you the thumbs up all the time.
You are a rock star, my friend. I appreciate that. So we, for those of you who don't know, we've got multiple YouTube channels out there. Disc Jockey News is just one of many. And we had, I don't remember what day it was, we had the power go out. We had a storm roll through. Power went out, and you can check now, which is really kind of cool. If you go to the local electric company, their website, and it will tell you, oh, you're in an outage. Well, knew that. But it tells you, oh, your power should go back on by 8:30 tonight. So that's 2.5 hours away. For those of you who, the very first link I shared, that's the instant DJ request. That's Brandon, my son. He designed that system for being a way to take music requests during this COVID time. It's backup servers over here behind me, which means that the modem right here has to have power. The fiber optic thingy over there has to have, modems over there, routers here, both have to have power, and then the server has to have power in case the other one goes down, they've redundant, whatever. So it became okay, how do I keep electricity to it? So I pulled out my little Ryobi, my little inverter, and plugged in one of the battery backups just to see if it would extend. The little inverter at 150 watts of max out didn't have enough power to keep a battery UPS running. So I pulled out the 300 watt one, which works on the 40 volt batteries, and it worked like a charm. It powered the battery supply, and it ran for a good 20 minutes and used a couple of LEDs worth. Then I had this little propane inverter. It's a little 700 watt inverter that I put outside and had started, ran an extension cord into the building, split it off to run a couple of more battery supplies. So I had this mass of stuff going on here during this, and then sure enough, the electricity comes on earlier than expected. But the idea of having that backup. So now that gets me to the point. I wanted to bring you guys up to speed. Howie, the question I had for you there is, when I was plugged into one of the inverters, my backup was giving me a ground fault. What was it doing? What did that mean?
That is because there is no ground. Your backup is looking for a ground and a ground fault. And what these things are, like the Ryobis and the Omars and everything else, they have what's called a floating ground. And even if you use a generator, like when Ben does the big things with the trailers, they actually have to drive a spike in the ground and create a ground. You need to go 8 feet in the ground. You water it with salt and so forth. So that could be what you're having. We have not experienced that. Matter of fact, I was talking to Brian just before he did his wedding gig, and he brought the Ryobi as a backup. And we did, bench tested stuff, and it was good enough, to run his wireless mic.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not as sensitive with the smaller things. But something like your your US. What did you have again?
Those are the backup, the UPS, the uninterrupted
Oh,
power
the
supply.
UPS. Yeah, the UPSs are going to be very sensitive. They're going to look for a ground, and you might get away with. Did that happen on the propane one? It didn't want to accept.
I don't remember which one. If I almost want to think it was on the 150 watt that it was
on
saying
the
that,
little one, yeah,
that was having a problem with. There wasn't a ground,
right?
Because the 400 watt one, that seemed to work fine, and then of course the little inverter or generator, that seemed to work fine. And obviously neither of those had a ground in the ground. They weren't that way, but
yeah, you'll find that. As Brian did, that Ryobi is going to come in very handy as a quick backup for different things. Like when it's all happened to us when you get to a venue. Oh yeah, we have plenty of outlets for you, and then you find out that they put in a 100-cup coffee maker on the same thing, and you're like, oh, well, you can only plug so many things in, and then yeah, I've done it with my wireless mics. I just plug them into the the little backup things like the Ryobis that you have, and that it seems to get me by enough.
Now, Howie, tell the truth. Tell the truth. You could have all done that with about 10 AA batteries, and he would have been fine.
Well, actually, 24 is the magic number.
Oh, okay.
They come in a pack of 24.
Yeah.
It's the amp hours that I'm looking for. Oh. So what I do is I stack them so that they're parallel, and then when I reach my target voltage that I want to convert to AC, then it runs a real long time. Yeah.
See, John.
So when you're running
24 AA batteries.
So when you're running 24 AA batteries like that, Howie, and I've not dug into the Howie box, and I've seen pictures obviously of those. How many of those are you putting in series when you're doing that?
I put 2 banks of 24.
Oh.
And that will give me enough power because I built the amplifier too. So the amplifier does the passive speakers that Ben gave me a terrific deal on. It's like I stole them. They're concert grade speakers, and because he was so excited, when Ben and I talk, we're like little kids, and I told him what I was doing. He goes, yeah, the math is there. It's going to work here. You got to have these speakers. I said, I don't know if I can afford them. He goes, I'm going to get them for you at cost, because you're my friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. But it powers the speakers. Brian did a video on it. It also has I put an outlet for the wireless mic. And it also has, I have an Omar's that powers the laptop. So everything literally sets up in 10 minutes, and I have music coming out. And it goes for, I tested it here and it went 12 hours. I did it at a gig, and the longest gig I did was 7.5 hours, and I still had plenty of juice left. And Jimmy down there, he has one. He hasn't used yet, but I don't know. It was a couple years ago when he won that, when you had that auction.
Yeah.
And he still has 30 volts on his. I mean, it really holds a good charge.
So when you have all those batteries, then you basically are creating 36 volt. You must have an inverter then that will ramp that up to 110.
No, that's not 110. Because when you're using AC, what happens is even your active speakers inside in that plate amplifier is what's called a rectifier. And what it'll do is it takes the AC and converts it to DC, and it steps it down. So, and that's how I do everything when I've done like the lighting. I find out where's the DC, where's the other side of the converter, and I find out how much voltage they need, and that's how I converted all of the ADJ uplights to battery operated.
Okay.
Instead of, I just couldn't afford 350 per uplight, so I converted them for $30.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's all DC. It doesn't have, nothing electronic works off of AC. It's all DC. It's stepped down from your wall outlet
To whatever the need is.
as long as your power doesn't go out.
Yeah, there's something with that.
Unlimited. But you can actually, if you know where it is, and that's what I did, as I just put ports in there and, double pole, double throw switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very safe because there's no way you can have the DC and the AC plugged together. You switch either one way, it's DC and it's going to run off the batteries, or you switch and it's, the AC in and it gets converted down to DC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I've seen
it. That's how that works.
Yeah, and I saw the way you did the lights, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it looks, well, I made it look factory, because it's all black and it just fits right underneath the feet, and yeah,
looked good.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask a little bit about that, because I thought about that, and it's like, well, that would be a good question for Howie and his electrical skills. And
it's fun. I mean, it's keeping me happy through this pandemic thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I get to help a lot of people out. I get at least a dozen messages a day from people. So life is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
As long as you can help somebody and give back, it makes my day.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, let's hit a couple of questions here, and
absolutely,
so you get people involved and such, and see what kind of things Dan Carpenter has on his itinerary tonight.
Well, we'll see how this one goes. But my first one here, I thought, let's talk a little bit of the sales, if you will. One of the things that's often thrown out is the question of dream clients. Or ideal clients, if you will. So a lot of times, if you do any sales type of class or whatever, they always ask you to kind of picture that. And so I want tonight for you to kind of think about it. And I'm going to throw one piece out the window besides rich. All right. Besides looking for that ideal money key there. What do you feel is your ideal client? In a sentence or two, you don't need like 8 paragraphs, but
great question.
8? We can only use 8 paragraphs? That's not enough.
No, I said you can't use 8.
Oh.
So John, you got to go 7.
Oh man, there's so many possibilities. If you want to call on someone to start the
sure. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and I'll lead. I'll lead by example here, and then we'll kind of go around the room.
Sure.
Hit you up, and everybody else is like, "Where do I turn my camera off? Quick!" No, I'm just kidding. Some of these other ones will be a little more lighthearted, I promise. So for my ideal client, when I'm meeting with somebody, when I'm sitting down with them, and that's one of the things I really try and push for meetings, because when I've done everything through email or I've done everything through text, sometimes I get burned because it's hard to kind of get that feeling. I like people that I can have a conversation with. So when I'm sitting down and we're talking about coffee or talking over coffee, hey, let's talk. Like, let's not worry about the wedding stuff for a little bit. Let's just talk. Let's get to know each other. Tell me about how you met. Tell me different. And if I can have that conversation going, and it's not like short one-word answers, then I get a better feeling. Like they're open to things. They're more receptive. And so I know as we go throughout this, the process is going to be much smoother, just because that conversations and that ability to communicate is going to be so much better. So I like a light, laid back type of feel, and I like the ability to have conversations. And I know that kind of sounds weird, but that right there, if I can have that at a meeting, everything else I know is going to be smooth from there. Well, not me, but it feels like it's going to be. All right. Let's see. So I'm just going to go around, and John, you're underneath me, at least in my window.
Yeah.
So you're up next.
I would put in, similar to your thought process, someone that's at least reasonable and adaptable to a point of flexibility, that if not everything can go off on such a strict timeline, that they're not just going to lose their minds over it. It doesn't destroy their day if the kitchen's late with something, or something's a minute ahead or a minute behind, or if we have to postpone a dance because a father's outside. As long as they understand that there is certain fluctuation in the course of a day, because there's so many parts that have to come together. If they understand that up front and they're okay with that, and they aren't so rigid that they have to be so dead set, I think that just makes it for a less stressful event on all counts for all parties involved.
Nice. Nice.
Very good.
All right. Howie, you're next.
All right. I think I need to click with the client, and I will initiate almost a friendship of sorts. And a lot of them have become friends because, well, you guys know me. Like, I'm just like a knowledge hog. I mean, I'm addicted to it. I mean, that and coffee. Oh, and ice cream too. Let's not forget ice cream. But yeah, if I can get a paper on something, or just the books, like I have enough, knowledge that when I connect with someone and, oh, you're an electrician. Really? I am. I'm licensed too. What local are you from? Or, oh, yes, I'm a teacher. Oh, my girlfriend's a school teacher. What district? You instantly develop that, like, hey, we're talking like friends. Let's, I say we should really meet and see if we're a good fit. Maybe, you have some questions. I certainly have some for you. And I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, I'd love to meet. Where would you like to meet? And then once I meet, I have pretty high success rate. And that's it. I think I try to be their friend, and, let them know that, hey, here's my references. Here's my website. You can check out some videos, and and that's it. I mean, I just be myself.
The one thing I will say that I have difficulty with now, going off of, and all three of us have kind of said the same thing. We like to meet, we like to be talking with them, we like to get the feel. One of the things I've noticed I'm having difficulty with from time to time is getting that meeting lately. I feel like that meeting's been a little bit harder, and I'm not talking under the COVID situation, because that's a whole other issue.
Well, that's different, yeah.
Right, but under normal circumstances, even just getting to, like, hey, let's talk. Let's just get together and talk. And I'm having some that are just kind of like, we've already researched you, we've already checked you out, we've already looked at your reviews, you came recommended. I don't need to. And part of me is like, it's like, yay, but it's also like, but I want to meet you. Like, I want to interview you, see if you're going to work. It's like, I think it's great you want to hire me, but maybe I don't want to work for you, So I will say, though, it's careful, because you don't want to jump into that request for the interview, or for the meeting right away. A lot of times that's a turnoff, but it's a fine line sometimes of going almost too far in conversation versus email, where you're kind of like, they're kind of like, no, we just did everything through email. I'm good. JC, you're up next. Who is your ideal? Well, how would you describe your ideal client? And this doesn't have to be weddings, by the way. Any type of event.
What I usually do is try to meet with them and to see and get a hang of how things are gonna work out. So I ask them a lot of what's the party, what are you celebrating, what kind of music you like, who's coming, grandma's coming, old people are coming. So I can more or less be aware of what type of music I will bring. No, I'm in Mexico City, so Mexico is a very big city. So you get a lot of different parties you can do. No? So what I try to do is to get a real hang of what the party is going to be, so I can give the service that they require.
JC
Nice.
has been a regular almost every night here in the chill room. Is it different down there in Mexico? Up here, like what Dan was saying, is sometimes they just want to do it online. Do you find that they're more receptive to meeting in person in Mexico?
What I do is we tend more to do gigs near your where you live, no?
Okay.
So we go to restaurants or we go to a coffee shop and they're receptive. Yes.
Thank you.
Nice. Nice. That's cool. And so I appreciate JC. I didn't know you were from another country, let alone Mexico. So that's cool that you can add some of that. And in the chat room, I see we have someone from Zimbabwe. Like this, we need to like put international disc jockey news.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. If this was a little bit later, we'd have a guy in from Cyprus and one from Australia as well.
Yep.
For real.
Yeah.
They'll be in.
All right. Neil, you've typed a few things. Do you have a microphone that works tonight that you can join us, or you have to unmute yourself? Oh, there we go.
You hear me now?
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
How about now?
Excellent.
Yes, we can hear you. Good.
So
All right.
I guess, like JC, I'm another international fellow because I'm up in Toronto.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
So in regards to our question that Dan said, I kind of mirror a combination of what people have said. I guess the biggest thing is some client who would be able to trust my experience. I've been in the business 36 years now, 30 going on 37. Someone who's or a couple who's not afraid to collaborate. I always tell them that. Yes, I've been in it for a while now. But that being said, don't be afraid to throw in your questions and ideas, and you know what I mean. Trust me to guide you, though. Another thing is people who are lovers of music, because Toronto is such a metropolitan kind of place. We have people from probably every country in the world that live here, of every background, of every religion. So that being said, I find my ideal client is someone who can not be afraid to enjoy music of different generations, of different backgrounds, of different nationalities, because we have a lot of blending of that here. What else? And the other thing is, because Toronto is such a large area, I do what we call GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, which is pretty big. I think the only other city areas that I can think of are like LA, New York, in comparison
Right.
to and of course Mexico City. But so I travel and I do international as well.
Nice.
So meeting is not essential, and that I find as a good and a bad thing, because the kids, as they were, I think I can say that in this group, the kids, a lot of times they do what Dan is saying. I've had several in the last 2 or 3 years look me up, and the first day we meet is like when I show up for their gig. But if you know what I mean, if you're utilizing the right CRM and the all the other parts of it, it's not as horrible as you might think. I've converted from being the guy who was like, oh, we got to book the meeting, we have to sit down with you, we have to, so I can get the sale. And now with the advent of all the things we have electronically, they're like calling you up and going, okay, so where do I send my deposit? And I'm like, hello, who's this? Or hello, who's what? And they're like, are you available for that date? Here's my deposit, and that sort of thing. So
that is an ideal client. Where do I send the money? Holy cow!
And I get lots of them, and it's sort of like when I had to move from being a record guy to a CD guy to an MP3 guy, and I had to get used to that. It's the same sort of thing almost. You kind of got to go with the ebbs and flows if you want to run with volume. Sometimes that's my 2 cents.
Okay. All right.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, it's interesting. All the different areas. That's cool. I'm like, Gus. You've also not been on mic, so I'm not sure. Yep, you okay?
Yellow, here we are.
Okay.
For my ideal client, right now, we deal with a variety of group range. Being that I'm older, a lot of the older couple will come to us when they research us and find out who I am and whatnot. But we've been at this so long that we do weddings for everybody and anybody, obviously. But like a lot of people have mentioned here, I always like to get a feel of what the client is going to be like at first conversation. Keep the conversation upbeat and really find out whether they're going to be a good fit for me or not. And you get that feel right off of that first conversation, I think. And you can even have a feel of how the whole night is going to go in essence. So, but we try and cater to everybody and anybody in that respect for weddings and parties and stag and does and things like that. So, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And we had one join us right in the very end. So DJ Scrap, have you been watching and then you decided to jump in, or?
I've just finished work and gotten home, so
okay.
I normally jump in the chat room when I get home. I'm from Australia.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So the topic that we're kind of throwing out right now is your ideal client. Could you put a picture? And that, again, doesn't have to be weddings. Could be any type of event. How would you sum up your ideal client in just a few words?
That's a tough question. I taught myself to DJ 18 months ago, so I'm fairly new to it, and I have only done a handful of family gigs. But I'm guessing an ideal client would be someone that is easy to get along with and communicate with, that's not too demanding to start with.
And I think right there, we've all kind of hit on this idea that is part of the reason why I think it's so difficult. You often talk to salespeople, and they say, create your marketing with your ideal client in mind. And I think for the longest time for me, I tried to picture a person, and it was difficult because it wasn't a person that I was able to picture. Like, I could remember some clients that were good to work with, and I remembered like them, and I pictured them. But when I was like trying to figure out a way to market to them, to an ideal client, it was hard because I was trying to think of the way they looked or something else about them in that aspect. And yet really what we're doing is we're talking about, hey, for a good fit, if they're easygoing, if they're relaxing, if there's different pieces to that. So I think it's important for us to kind of focus on that a little bit more, or figuring out a way to put that side of it into words. So, John, I didn't ask you.
I know we got Jeffrey that jumped in here too, so we can catch Jeffrey after I'm done. So this is an actual area that has changed over the last number of years. If this would have been 5 years to 10 years ago, I was looking for that bride who is in her mid-20s, parents in their late 40s to early 50s, that liked a certain type of music. Generally, they would have grown up on the 80s music, because that's kind of where my strength is in that realm. It'd be somebody who is wanting to create an experience, and they want to create an experience for their whole family. They don't want to basically have the beer party. They want to have something where they can have grandma and grandpa there, and they can enjoy a night as a family and as friends. That was kind of a vision of that, and I wanted someone to work with someone who is willing to do something creative, and maybe we do something unique during the dinner time, or we create a video for their entrance or something unusual. The goal of who I was looking for is I wanted the bride who wanted to have the guests say, that was the best party, and I've never seen something like that happen at a wedding before. That's who I was looking for. Times have changed as I've gone forward, and part of it's because I'm not. Yes, it's nice to be getting a check for $2,000 to $3,000 at the end of the night, but the amount of time it took and different parts of it just got to the point where it was easier and better for me to go and do this is a horrible way to describe it, but a show up and play wedding, where basically it's more, they've been doing more of the online planning, and we've been talking more via the internet instead of all the face-to-face meetings and doing all this creative things. I do better financially by the hour to charge a little bit less than my $3,000, $2,000 rates, and then have less time, and then I don't have to be as away from family as much. Because obviously DJ and TV takes me multiple nights a week, and I'm away from the family. Then if I'm gone a night or two during the week because I've got meetings or planning things, it just became something I had to figure out a different way. So today's bride, who I'm looking for, is someone who will reach out and we'll have that discussion. And it might start out as price, but we're going to have a little bit of a discussion back and forth. But I'm also looking for someone who is very comfortable communicating digitally. If they're like, hey, I want to, chat, great, we can chat. How would you like to chat? Well, can we get together and meet? Well, for myself, that is for me is almost a deal breaker now, because I don't have the luxury of saying, hey, let's just do it, do it right now. I've got a lot of different irons in the fire. So I need someone who's like, what time can we Zoom? When people started jumping on Zoom this spring and we're utilizing it, it's like, woohoo! For me, that was fabulous because that I can handle. If I have someone who calls up and says, John, I don't have email and I don't do digital, I don't do anything, but you can mail me a contract. I'm saying, sorry, I can't work with you. Literally, that's where I'm at, because as much as I'd love to be able to help them, I just know that there would be so much that I would have to, that would be outside of my work realm to make that happen, that it just really wouldn't, I couldn't charge enough for that amount of time that it would take to do that from my perspective. So it has changed over the last number of years. And paragraph 8, and boom.
You find, John, that they're receptive to something like a Zoom or FaceTime, at least?
Most of them, it was interesting. Last year, it was kind of a mix. I was showing a lot of them, they were interested in doing it, but they had never done Zoom before. So it was, 2000 booking for this year. Most of the booking happened in mid-2019. So I was teaching people, here's the link, click on this, download this, Okay. This year, it's crazy. Everybody knows how Zoom works, and they're like, hey, can we Zoom? And I actually had to go and I added Zoom. It used to be, video conference as one of the options for communicating, and now you've got to say Zoom specifically, because that they understand. If you say video conference, they're like, what's that? I'm not sure. But Zoom, it's like, oh yes, I know it's Zoom. So just want you to know we used Zoom back before it was popular.
We did. We were the forerunners.
We were way early. So
we're the OGs.
See, so Jeffrey's up next, I think, Dan, and then I think we've hit everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much. I just had 10 crowns put into my bottom teeth this morning.
Ooh, yeah, that would be.
And plus getting over a virus that I've had for 10 days. Haven't eaten anything still.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, but if I understand the question right, I've been DJing for 30 years. I'm out here in Ventura, California, And I work for a company who pretty much kind of books for me, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's a venue that has several different locations, mostly throughout California. It's called Wedgwood Banquets, and it's an exclusive place where we have a location in Oxnard, 21st floor of the Morgan Stanley building, so it's the highest skyscraper around here. And we do our ceremonies at the beach or down in the garden ceremony spot, and then we take the reception upstairs. So I was doing it for about 3.5 years. I was the main DJ doing 2 to 3 weddings every single weekend. And I basically did them all. So I was dealing with, 8, 9, 10 brides at a time, having, all their itinerary all clipped together, in order on my desk here. And so it pretty much kind of took over my life for those 3.5 years that I was the main DJ. Now I'm back to doing business on my own. But for me, like Howie, clicking with the client is the most important thing. Now, when somebody else hires the client and says, hey, do you want to use our DJ that comes with the package? I mean, they're getting me no matter what. But luckily, I've made them all happy, and I've got all my Yelp reviews are 5-star, all 15 so far. So, a big thing for me is just when I first get them on the phone, and the majority of what I do is weddings. So, is when I get them on the phone, I'm going to call them and say, hey, this is your Tower Club DJ. I just wanted to set up our consultation to go over the timeline for your wedding. What would be a good day? I have these slots open. I have this day, this time, this time, this time. I would not leave it open up to whatever time they wanted. I'd say these are the times I have, not past 6. Because I do have a full-time job working for Costco, which I've been doing. I'm almost about to retire. But anyway, to get as friendly as I can with them is the most important thing to me, to be like a friend, and to act like I'm not nervous. Why would I be nervous? I'm here to make your day the best day of your life. So, so I would schedule with them, and then once we do have our consultation, it's just a matter of being excited and actually making them. I've had a lot of people tell me that I paint the picture for them, and they like that. Okay, imagine you coming through the door. Ladies and gentlemen, coming through the door at this time, the new Mr. and Mrs. blah, blah, blah. And they're like, ooh, you just gave me chills. See, that's the effect. That's the effect I'm going for.
Yes.
The effect I'm going for is, you know me already.
Yes.
I'm somebody that you're going to enjoy talking to because I'm excited for you. Anyway, but like Howie, clicking is the most important thing right off the bat. Whether I'm booking it on my own or if it's already been booked for me. Anyway, my throat's getting sore, so I'm going to back out.
Hey, good luck, man. Wow.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
a lot
you.
one day.
Yeah.
But they look good.
Yeah.
They do.
There you go.
I got 10, and then I've already had my top ones done, so
Yeah.
$20,000 smile.
I was just gonna say that's
all
got
out
to
of my
be.
pocket. That's not one damn bit of insurance paid for that. Anyway,
You got to do it though.
Sharpen wires with your teeth.
Yeah, no more of that. Yeah, you learn that pretty quickly.
Oh my.
Let's see. So, that took a little more time. So we'll wrap it with that one question tonight.
Just one? I
I'm
came up with
sorry.
like 12.
I know you'll have more opportunity because we'll talk about going forward here. So first off, coming up here tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Ben and I are doing. We've got our show tomorrow night, and then so tomorrow's regular Tuesday. Next Tuesday night, the week. So it's the 25th of August. We're going to actually Katie is going to take over the Tuesday night with Ben Stowe time slot. And she's going to be talking with some folks from Roland. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there could be some interesting swag that's going to be given away that night. And some of it is way beyond swag. But I can't talk too much about specifics yet because we're hammering that out tomorrow, I think. if not tomorrow, Wednesday. But we'll know more tomorrow night. But so put that on your schedule. You want to be watching. It would be the 9 o'clock Eastern show, the Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe on August 25th, because that's going to be a show that you're going to learn some things. With a couple of DJs that are coming in to talk about some things, and it's Roland is going to be doing. And Roland is not only do they got the 707, but they've also, I think they've got Vimoda, I think is under Roland now, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a headphone company that they have added, and I thought it was Vimoda. Anyway,
So that might explain why suddenly I've been seeing a lot of Vimoda like ads lately.
that could be it, that they're pushing those pretty hard, because headphones, people buy those much more than they buy controllers. So that's coming up. Then September, the 14th and 15th. It's a Monday, Tuesday, September. It's our DJ and TV DJ Talks night. It's basically TED Talks. DJs are signing up. We've got quite a few that have signed up for the little 10-minute talks. It's basically 10 minutes of you talking about one topic, and then record that, send that to me. I'm going to stitch these together and make 2 Monday night show and a Tuesday night show with these. What's going to be cool is both nights I'm going to be coming in and interrupting the show at some point in time, and we're going to do a drawing. And for the people who send a video in and are on a part of the show, we're going to be giving away 2 $500 shopping sprees at NLFX Pro. So basically, I'm going to hand you $500 cash and say, here, go see Ben. And one's going to be given away Monday night, one's going to be given away Tuesday night. So you can't win both of them, but you could. If you don't win Monday, your name will be in for Tuesday. So, and then for those of you watching, each night we're going to be giving away $100 for the people who are watching, and you got to be there live for the viewers. We're going to give away a couple of $100 shopping sprees at NLFX Pro. So it's going to be quite a few things going there. Mm-hmm. Then October, we're going to be doing the DJ and TV Virtual Expo for the last one for 2020, and there's going to be some prizes going on with that. It's going to be seminars. Initially, this is a typical John thing. John plans to have something this many hours, and then so I think I've got over 30 presenters coming in for Monday, our virtual expo. So yeah, it's going to be a long, and there's going to be some prizes given away during that. There will be some exhibit hall things going on. A couple of manufacturers will be there. Ben is going to have an exhibit room. They're working on some specific show pricing during that show, so there will be some deals that'll be available. So should be a lot of fun, and looking forward to both of those events. But one is kind of getting us set for the second one in October.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. I'm a little excited. By the way, just in case anybody is looking or curious, it was Vimoda that Roland bought.
Okay, so they're good. Thank you.
Yeah. So awesome. So great, some great shows coming up. By the way, for those of you that are in the chat room, the chill room rather, that's not going to go. Like when we're done with the show and stuff like that, John might have to leave, I might have to leave, whatever. But this is still going to go. So you guys don't go anywhere. Continue to hang out and do your typical thing and have some fun. And I've got questions for the next time we do this.
And I'm putting the link into the chats for those who are out there watching. We've got about 45 people watching the different Facebook and YouTube channels. And they can, if you guys want to click on that and jump in here in about 30 seconds, you're more than welcome to do that and have some fun this evening.
Sounds good. So thank you very much. Thank you guys for those of you that were in the room and gave your answers, and Day also threw his out in the YouTube chat. So thank you, Day, for doing that as well. Thank you for everybody for participating and being a part tonight. It really makes it special for us to be able to have these kind of things. So thank you so very much. Have yourself a great night. We'll see you next time.
On. I got to join the